Hello, this is a DIY coasters making tutorial using wood Scrabble tiles. And here's what you'll need for this type of project. Scrabble tiles, of course, some scissors, a utility knife or X-Acto knife, thin cork board sheets or pre-cut coaster size cork, clear polyurethane spray, and E6000 fluid. Now, in terms of selecting your supplies, the most tricky part obviously is picking what you want the coasters to say and what design you want them to have. Now, you can use symbols, numbers, and blanks to combine with letters, so that if you have a shorter 3-letter word, you can add a symbol or a blank tile to fill out that line, and you can sort of mix and match. So each coaster can have its own individual theme around a main theme. So for example, you could have a coaster about coffee, a coaster about tea, a coaster about another type of drink, so that they're all sort of drink related. Or you can do really personalized coasters if you're giving them as a gift, for example, to a teacher, teach, learn, that sort of thing, for a wedding, or keepsakes, things like that, for a wedding shower, baby shower. For example, you could have "It's a boy," and then you could use this baby tile. There are so many ideas, so if it's for "It's a boy," you could have that, and cherish, and dream, and all this sort of themed words around that. So really, you can get creative, make whatever you want, and especially if you have a set of tiles that is diverse, that has more than letters, you can be even more creative. Next, we have step 1. So, like we were talking about, selecting the tiles and the layout. So if you've sort of been writing out on a piece of paper, or been brainstorming the words and themes that you want to use, you should do a mock layout. So you take the tiles and you actually place them just on a table, in the square shape that you're going to have them, to see how everything's going to fit and look together. And then once you have that, you can make adjustments, add some symbols, add some blanks, and make sure that your coasters are going to look great. Next, once all of that is selected, you want to cut the cork. So that's if you don't have the pre-cut coasters. Just be careful with the pre-cut cork that it's a good size for the tiles that you'll be using. So you might want to check once you do your layout of your tiles, you'll see how big the square is going to be. Some tiles are perfectly square, others are a bit longer on one side. So some coasters may have five tiles across, and some may have 4. It depends on the size of the tiles. So be careful when selecting pre-cut cork tiles, or the easiest thing is to buy a larger sheet and just to cut it to size. So basically, you measure the size of the square when you put all your tile layout. You measure the size of that tile square, and then mark that on the cork sheet, and then cut the cork using scissors or utility knife. And you want to cut it to a size that's a bit larger than the actual square of tiles. And you're going to trim it later so that it's more exact. If you cut it beforehand and then it doesn't quite fit and it's hard to line up, so it's better to cut it a bit bigger, and then later we'll trim it to the exact size. Step 3, you're basically going to start gluing this stuff on. So you have your layouts that you put, and you want to take your cork. You want to start spreading the glue evenly for one of the rows and start placing that row of tiles. Now what you want to do is make sure that the tiles are flush and straight. And if there's a bit of glue that comes up in between the letters, that helps them adhere to each other, so that's a good thing as well. So then you can continue row by row, again ensuring the sides are straight and everything's flush and straight with each other. And don't use too much glue, and just any unwanted glue, you want to make sure that that gets taken off, and you can remove that later as well, but you might want to just make sure as you go along that there's not a bunch of glue sticking out. So then you want to dry the tiles, and you want them to actually obviously have a flat surface if you're going to be putting a drink or something on top of it. So you want to glue them flat. One thing you can do is actually dry them with a heavy flat book on top. So that's one way that you can make sure that they'll be flat. Finally, once they're dry, you can trim all of the sides and just trim the cork off to make sure everything is totally flush. And then you'll be spraying and sealing them. So the clear polyurethane spray helps seal and give a bit of even a bit of gloss, semi-gloss to the coaster. So you want to obviously spray on some kind of disposable surface, or a surface that you don't mind getting spray on because you're not going to be able to remove it. Example, newspaper, or if you have some kind of workbench that you can get paint on. Basically, you want to spray the polyurethane evenly over the tiles, following the product directions. And then you want to apply more than one coat, probably 2 coats is fine, and you want to let each coat dry before you apply another. So just make sure the coat is totally dry before you apply the second one. And once it's dry, you can now go show off your creation or give it as a gift. And I hope you enjoyed this DIY coaster tutorial by Clever Crafting using our wood Scrabble tiles. And you can get your quality creative wood tiles like this on Amazon.com. Thank you.